Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. The biggest question at Cannes this year was that of coexistence. Coexistence of a traditional creative agency setup with the new age agencies and consultants and, of course, the technology companies. Can all of these entities truly coexist? And how will advertising change in the coming days, factoring in all the tension in such a scenario? While at Cannes, I had a very interesting chat with Sam Kelly, Managing Director AKQA, and Ian Wharton, Group Creative Director AKQA, about these issues concerning the creative industry and how are they building their own setup step by step. At Cannes, we have Sam Kelly and Ian Wharton of AKQA with us today. Both of you, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You know, I'm coming to Cannes for many years now, and I remember first time speaking to Aijaz Ahmed about AKQA, and at that point in time, about 5 or 6 years ago, you know, businesses and marketers were still dealing with the idea of working with a company such as AKQA. But over the past few years, relevance of an organization like yours has increased, and I have seen it increase. How relevant do you think you guys are today?
We're starting to see the beginnings of what is effectively mass fragmentation of communication. So very much gone are the days of having any form of captive audience. So that's what we relied on a long time ago, when you had maybe 10 channels on TV or when you had people commuting in their cars. Now what you're relied on is targeting what has to be an increasingly specific audience. And the only way to do that really is through having a pretty good comprehension of that particular market or that particular audience and how they behave and what they do during the day, because it changes over a 24-hour period. The only way you can do that is through intelligent interpretation of data to say what they do and where they are and what they like to do. When you know that, you can match their intent or desire, or you can do something different to catch them off guard. Both of these things, we hope, capture attention in a meaningful way that's in some form contributory to their lives. So that's why you're seeing increased relevance in digital.
What do you think?
What you've seen is you know, the earliest form of digital disrupt kind of the media and entertainment industry, the industries that are, you know, mostly not regulated. So it's still in its infancy, I would say, and we're still at a very exciting time. If you start to look at the healthcare and medical industry, that's about to become disrupted, from the ability to self-diagnose, speak to a doctor online without having to leave your home. And then you start to look at the financial industry, which is starting to see new forms of banks arrive that don't have any branches, and everything's managed online. It's still relatively early on in its infancy again, and you know, it's an exciting time, and more industries are going to become disrupted. And therefore, I think, you know, we're still at the at the forefront of it, and still very relevant for today.
So, you know, one of the biggest challenges for a company like yours is costing, and you know how to cost, because you're costing the idea. So how do you do that? How do you manage that? Because, you know, like, please share, how do you cost your idea and convince your client to agree to that cost?
So costing's always been interesting in the kind of agency and digital world. I think the thing about today is that measurement is a lot more advanced, and data and access to data is a lot more advanced for our clients and in ourselves through data science. So we're able to work with our clients and understand, you know, what the value is to their business that this product or service or idea can bring, and then we can measure that impact and kind of forecast it forward, and then we can use that in an intelligent pricing model to show the impact it will have, whether it's on shareholder value, whether it's on client or customer satisfaction scores. We can start to measure those things a lot more. And, you know, 6 to 10 years ago, it wasn't quite there. It was all around web stats and visits. But now you can kind of start to measure even people's emotions and how they feel towards a brand. So all of that has helped with intelligent pricing and understanding the value that we bring to our clients.
So do they always agree?
Yeah, I think the difficulty with this has been and will always be, at what point do you try and assert return on investment on creativity? And it's a difficult conversation, it's a difficult question to ask. So while exactly what Sam said, we have quite flexible ways of partnering with our clients, and they are long-term partnerships, they're not short-term things typically. What you have to do is have at the base of everything a deep foundation of creativity. And everything we do is led by the idea and the innovation, the invention that comes out of it. And the difficulty with all of these discussions about pricing and return on investment is more risk-averse clients expect the return on investment upfront before you do anything. The difficulty with that is creativity always requires some form of leap of faith. It is always an endeavor where you're placing some form of bet. So when you overtly police it or assert return on investment or a guarantee of return on investment on it early on, what you end up doing is walking into repetition because you're banking on something that's been done before. So it still requires clients have this willingness to take a leap of faith in all of their creative endeavors, really.
So, there are different models that exist today, business models that exist today. One is the traditional agency setup, the second is a consultancy, and the third is a company like yours. Do you think all three of them can coexist, or one of them will die, and why?
The reality is all of these things tend to be cyclical, and what it requires more than anything is a group of people, which is all an organization is, to have willingness to turn their hand to unforeseen circumstances and unforeseen innovations and unforeseen business models that are most relevant, that add the most value to their clients. Typically a younger digital agency like AKQA is more adept at doing these types of things just because it's in our DNA, and as you say, Ajaz, that's the way he set up the company 21 years ago. And there are things every year at CANNES that come back, which is the discussion of, do agencies suddenly change business models and go into joint ventures and joint investments and sell direct to consumers and create products and services, which is absolutely a valuable, profitable business model. The difficulty is to do it and to have the internal mechanics to make that happen are very difficult at some of the gigantic legacy agencies that have been around since the Mad Men days.
Don't you agree that it's a struggle for all three to survive together?
Change is inevitable now. Every day's change, and I think people just have to live with that. I think everyone can survive together. People have their specialisms, and consultancies are very good at systems integrations and things like that. I think there is an issue of creativity at that point, and also, a business like ours, it's probably not in our DNA to want to be a systems integrator. We've always been about the brand experience and architecting that and the whole experience, and whether we do all of it or part of it. We work with partners all the time, so there's always room for everyone to live happily.
So if we are at CANNES, would you be here or somewhere else, like a CES or something like that?
I think it's valuable to be here. In some respects, there's no denying CANNES is a bit of an echo chamber, as in you get a group of people all in the same area in the same week talking about the same thing, and we all go away saying the same thing as when we came, by and large. That said, this festival has diversified massively over the past 10 years. You only have to see the influence of Snapchat outside, and you see more and more technology companies. So it's a valuable snapshot of how the industry perceives itself, how it wants to present itself to the outside world. That said, it shouldn't influence too much your organization. It shouldn't influence too much how you want to put ideas out into the world or how a brand should try and find its audience. It's just one moment in time. And what it calls upon, what creativity in this age calls upon, is this diverse, multidisciplinary view of the world, which is how we hire our teams, it's how we build our organizations. And the reality is you need to be willing to turn your hand to all different types of things. And this is just one part of a much bigger picture of the world of creativity right now.
So one of the biggest focus areas for a company like AKQA is culture. Tell us how important it is for you and how do you work on creating that culture within your organization?
So culture is formed by the people. I always say your culture is influenced by three things. It's the people, the environment, and the work. We're lucky. I mean, we have probably one of the best client lists in the world. We're very lucky. But what comes with that is a huge amount of kind of dedication and, I guess, trust to do the right thing for them. And so you've got great brands that you work for. You create an inspiring environment, and we're very lucky with our environments. We always look to create an environment that's it's freedom within a framework. So we want autonomy within our teams, but they still work within kind of a framework. So they can be self-directed. They can learn from each other. And one of the things that we do is we always say the family that eats together stays together. because in today's world, a lot of our teams work with clients on site, or our clients come to us, or we're on the move, we're moving to different countries like today. It's important that you continue to do company events or team events to bring the people back together. So we do a Friday breakfast once a month. We host AKQA Insights, which is with influential speakers from around the world, and they come in and talk to our teams and our clients. And it's everything around 100 works of art that changed the world, to mental health, to a NASA scientist. So we're always trying to broaden the cultural awareness of our teams so the ideas become even better. And it is the people that make the culture. If you get the people wrong, it can kill the culture. And so for us, we look to, myself and Giles and Ian try to meet every single person that comes into our business. And we always look for some key factors within them and ask them how they've done that, whether it's adventurous, passionate, leadership, and we ask them how they demonstrate those values, because it is the people that make it, but also the work and the environment.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks for speaking to us.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back same time next week. See you soon.